Hello, everyone. Welcome back to I Create For You. I'm going to start doing these stories, The Lighthouse Ghosts and Legends. I previewed this book with an introduction, reading the introduction that's in the book. The book is by Nina Kostopoulos. I did get this at the library, so you may be able to also get this book at the library. This is the story we're going to read today, Warning on WINYAH Bay. And this is the lighthouse that's featured. It's called Georgetown Light, North Island, South Carolina. The photo was taken by Bob and Sandra Shanklin. After I'm done reading the story, I'm going to do an illustration for the story. Warning on WINYAH Bay, Georgetown Light, North Island, South Carolina. Ravaged by brutal storms that sweep across the Atlantic, coastal South Carolina has seen vast destruction and loss. It is a capricious and often cruel environment, where for several hundred years lighthouses have proved crucial to the survival of the seafarers. South Carolina's oldest active lighthouse, the Georgetown Light, sits at the mouth of WINYAH Bay, 12 miles from Georgetown, South Carolina, on North Island. To locals, it is known as the North Island Light. North Island's first lighthouse was built of cypress wood in 1801. 6 years later, it was toppled by a massive storm. Wary of wood's ability to withstand violent weather, the new contractors chose to construct an 87-foot brick tower in 1812. Over the years, the tower survived a number of trials, such as South Carolina's legendary hurricanes. In 1857, it was equipped with a fourth-order Fresnel lens. Despite the contractors' and good intentions, the lighthouse was damaged during the Civil War. Then, in 1867, builders reconstructed a lighthouse with stone walls as thick as 6 feet at the base, and the waves that lashed the coastline had met their match. Even the tower's spiral staircase with its 124 steps was cut from stone rather than cast iron, common to other lighthouses. The stone lighthouse still stands today. The Georgetown Light survived a succession of keepers over the years as well, and many a story has been told of their lives. But one story above all is remembered on North Island. In the early 1800s, a new keeper arrived at the lighthouse with his young daughter Annie. The fair-haired child was small, and her father was protective. As Annie was too young to care for herself, the pair went everywhere together. She shadowed her father as he kept the large whale oil lantern burning, and when they ran low on food and supplies, father and daughter climbed aboard their tiny rowboat and set off for Georgetown. Annie's father, like many keepers of his day, had taken on the added responsibility of serving also as a weatherman during his tenure at the Light. However, with little more than rudimentary instruments, weather patterns were difficult to predict, especially in the bay. His forecasts were often accurate, but the danger of an unforeseen storm loomed. Such was the case one sunny day. The keeper and his daughter set off to the mainland to replenish supplies. With no sign of inclement weather, the water was calm, the sun warm, and the breeze soft. The happy companions decided to take advantage of the pleasant day. They shopped leisurely, leaving just enough time to row back before dark. As the day wore on, a warm but brisk wind rolled across the water and through town. Always cautious, the keeper scrutinized the sky to see if the weather was turning. Sure enough, though he found the sky still blue, gray storm clouds were crowding the horizon. Fearful of getting caught in a storm, the two filled their small craft with supplies and started rowing home. In no time, heavy, stinging raindrops and hail began to fall across the water. The keeper used all of his strength to row, but the winds grew fierce, and the waters kicked up violent, savage waves. Soon rain began to fill the small boat, Young Annie sat huddled and shivering as her father fought helplessly against the swelling waves. The two had completed 3/4 of their trip when waves spilled over the side of the boat, nearly flooding it. The keeper knew that they were going to sink. In desperation, he gathered Annie up and tied her to his back. Already weary, he had no choice but to swim the rest of the way to shore. Annie held tight, but as her father fought the impossible current, the waters engulfed her time and again. Almost drowned, the keeper pushed forward until at last he crawled to the shore and collapsed. When he awoke hours later, he found his beloved daughter still strapped to his back, lifeless. He had lost her to the sea. For many months, the keeper mourned the tragic death of his daughter, Annie. He found it hard to man the lighthouse. There were constant reminders of her companionship in all he did. Often, when he went inland, locals noticed him wandering the streets, despondent and confused. He walked through town weary and saddened, calling out for Annie as though she were simply playing a game of hide and seek. Those who have heard the tale believe that the heartbroken keeper never truly recovered from the death of his dear Annie. He simply found his duty too much to bear. Annie, however, is as dedicated as ever. Local legend claims that Annie's ghost has remained on and about North Island to warn sailors of sudden changes in the weather. Ever since her death, seafarers have reported seeing a sweet blonde child who mysteriously appears aboard their vessel. Often she appears during warm, sunny weather, like the weather she experienced on her last trip to town, and warns sailors to return to the mainland. Many have been startled enough by the specter of the fair-haired child to heed her warning and seek solid ground. Others, who have ignored her warning, have met her dreadful fate. For, sure enough, despite all indications to the contrary, shortly after she appears, the weather turns abruptly violent, slamming mammoth waves into the coast and sealing the doom of anyone still afloat. Today, the keeper's dwelling no longer stands. The lighthouse, however, is an active navigational aid listed in the National Historic Register. As the island is now privately owned, the lighthouse is closed to the public, though the owners do allow visitors to walk up on the beach to the high tide mark. The island is only accessible by boat. Tours are available through Low Country Plantation Tours. Okay, that's the end of that. That's a sad, sad ending to the story. Can't imagine what the father went through. His guilt, not being able to predict what was going to happen and get to the boat in time. I'm going to try to draw Annie, and I'm going to try to draw her, hopefully, on a boat. We'll see. We'll see how this turns out. I will draw Annie first. And I'm not going to draw the front view. I'm drawing where she's looking onto the people of the boat. And you'll just have to imagine her hair is blonde, like they say in the story. I don't really color these sketches, so it will be a black and white sketch. Hopefully you guys can see. I'll zoom you in as I do it so you can kind of see better. I have this problem of sketching very lightly, only I do it because it's easier for me to erase my mistakes, which are not few and far between. Hopefully I can start to do some where I don't have to worry about erasing so much. Okay, that's her hair flowing in the breeze of an oncoming storm. Now I'm going to have her point kind of like, here's her dress. I don't know what she was wearing. They didn't really mention what she would be wearing. So I'm just going to have her in like a loose fitting dress. And let's see. Let's have her. I'll do it this way. There. She's pointing to the shore. The shoreline. And I'm going to have her dress go down around here. Okay. And of course, when you have a ghost, there's always a point where you don't see everything, just like a kind of a misty look. Okay. And she's on a boat. Let's see if I can do this here. This might be even easier for me to do. Up here is the mast. And we usually have the masts going up on the boat. Okay, and I'm going to do like the planks inside the boat. My perception of how to draw it. Here, let me do this again. This is kind of wonky here. If she's standing on the boat, we shall make the boat like this. This might be an easier way for me to do the boat. Okay. Now, this is the bottom of the boat. She's standing, trying to warn them that they need to go. There's their mast, the one mast. Mast. A-M-A-M-A-S-T. Okay. This is the hull of the boat, or the bow of the boat. There's the end of the boat. There's the floor. And she's warning them that they need to heed her warning of the storm that's looming. Nasty skies. Nasty skies. My husband, actually, I had mentioned in the other video that I remember watching the movie The Fog when I was a kid. And it kind of reminded me of these stories about a lighthouse and ghosts and such. And we watched the one from way back in the 80s. And then we watched, this is the water. This is the water here. That's the skyline. This is the water. And we kind of watched both versions. There's a newer version in 2005, but the one that I was referring to was the one that was in the 80s. So this is Annie, and she's warning the sailors that they need to return to shore because of the impending storm. And so that's my interpreted illustration of what it would look like to see her on your boat, telling you that you need to turn back or you need to head for land, whichever way land is. And we have 17 more stories in this book, so if you want to hang out and get a few more in here, the ones that are in the Ghost Stories of Berks County, I'm definitely going to try to get, like I said before, I'm going to try to get the previews of how they look. Like if it's near our area, I'm going to take a road trip out there and we can take a little video just so you can get some kind of visual of what the place looks like now as compared to what the folklore, when the folklore happened. And maybe I'll be able to get some sightings of the exact areas. Like the last one was just an estimated guess of as to where the rituals actually happen on Witch's Hill. Okay, thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the story. That, like I said, there's 17 more to go, and I will be having my husband help me with the other ones in the other book because they're rather long ones, and we will be doing road trips. If you like that, please give me a thumbs up. Love to have you subscribe, comment in the if you have any other books you'd like me to look into, and I hope to see all of you in the next few. Thank you. Bye bye for now.